How's it going, guys? My name's Wilson. With the 2019-2020 NBA season ready to go, many role players and superstars on championship teams throughout NBA history have made huge sacrifices for the better of their teams. When it comes to unselfishness, Magic Johnson and Larry Bird often comes to mind. Both have transcended the NBA and made all their teammates better. Without them, the league would simply not be where it is today. From the 2010s decade, let's take a look at 10 of the most unselfish players over the last 10 years. Just a quick nugget, everyone on this list won a championship. Starting with Boris Diaw, was a terrific passer with Phoenix after winning Most Improved Player in 2006 and being traded to Charlotte in the middle of the 2009 season. Diaw was forgotten since he was on an awful franchise, but was luckily waived in 2012 where he signed with San Antonio in March. Although he picked up a lot of weight at the latter part of his career, his play style clicked perfectly with the Spurs. Not a guy who scores a lot of points or collects a lot of rebounds. The Frenchman didn't care about all that. He idolized Magic Johnson growing up, fitting in perfectly into pop system where the champion Spurs ball movement and rhythm was a thing of beauty. Boris led the whole series in assists, averaging almost 6 a game, always found the open man. Miami simply had no answers for him, was a walking mismatch, often found Duncan and Splitter down low from the high post, was a plus 74 the whole series. Not to mention Diaw averaged over 13 a game in the OKC series, dropped 26 in a tight Game 6 victory in the conference finals. If it wasn't for Diaw's presence, San Antonio might not have won the title in 2014. Marc Gasol, who was the face of the grit and grind Memphis team, always competed on both ends of the floor, never complained, and got the job done. Super fundamental, having the same qualities as his older brother Pau, who was one of the most unselfish players last decade, fitting as the perfect second option for the Lakers. Younger brother Marc belongs in this decade's list as one of the most unselfish players, successfully changing his game from only making 12 threes his first 8 seasons to knocking down 104 in 2017, adapted and was simply the difference maker for Toronto. Did all the little things on defense, always looked to get his teammates involved, didn't take a ton of shots, and made all the winning plays when it mattered most. A true champion who also doesn't care about individual stats. Iguodala, who's currently on his last legs, Iggy has all the qualities that embodies a true team player, viewed as a very good player for much of his career. If it wasn't for his leadership and personality with Golden State, he likely would have never been close to even making the Hall of Fame. But after all he's accomplished, his walk on stage years from now in spring feels looking very likely. After leaving $52 million guaranteed money to take less and joining Golden State and starting every game of his career up until the 2014-15 season, Coach Kerr made Iggy come off the bench in all 77 games, and his willingness paid off big time. Golden State was better with him playing with the second unit. Most former All-Stars would have refused to make such a huge sacrifice for the better of the team, winning 67 games. After being down 2 games to 1 to Cleveland, Iggy changed the whole series around after being inserted to the starting lineup, shockingly winning Finals MVP, showed up when it mattered most, continued to play crunch time defense throughout his career, having plenty of big moments in the postseason and knocking down big time shots, took less minutes, playing a key role on one of the greatest teams all time, a true professional. Draymond Green, many view him as a hothead, very erratic at times, but that's how his personality is on the floor, more emotional than others. Just cause he gets under his opponent's skin doesn't mean he's not a good teammate. Draymond is beloved in Golden State, and after losing Game 7 of the 2016 finals, Green called Kevin Durant and made his pitch knowing his role would be reduced with Durant joining Golden State. Draymond continued to do all the little things to help his team win, didn't care about stats at all. The only player to record a triple-double without the points, knowing he's not the best shooter, passes up open shots for better opportunities for the Splash Brothers. The former 35th overall pick has proven why he's a multiple-time All-Star and will continue to play with the same aggression throughout his career. Klay Thompson, who perfectly accepts his role and does it better than any player as a number 2 and 3 option for all his career, one of the toughest competitors. He's dependable, relied upon in key moments, comfortably took a step back without a problem. After KD joined Dub Nation, has no ego, doesn't care to be in the spotlight. Most guys in his situation would want to be the face of the franchise, but Thompson values the bigger picture. How he scored 60 points in just 29 minutes, could have tried to surpass 81, but decided to sit the whole fourth quarter. Is the perfect player for a free-flowing offense and competes on D just as hard. Manu Ginóbili, who could start for any team in the NBA and easily be the best player on half the teams in his prime. The four-time champ came off the bench for most of the decade after being a full-time starter throughout most of the 2000s, is an instant game changer, playing less than 24 minutes each of his last 7 seasons. The 6'6" shooting guard could have played more and would have had way better numbers, but all he cared about was winning. A true international icon with gratitude, beloved by his teammates, his sacrifice was rewarded by being part of one of the best cultures in all of basketball. Just like Iggy with Golden State, Manu's presence was absolutely vital with San Antonio. Even though his stats were not eye-popping at times, did all the little things. Is one of the most transcendent players of his generation, who was the first one to master the Euro step, a player every Spurs fan will forever cherish, and a guy any team would love to have. Tim Duncan. The big fundamentals unselfishness is one of his biggest qualities. Never complains, his leadership and work ethic speaks for itself. Having one of the most successful careers and able to adapt, handed the keys to the younger Tony Parker as he was declining with age. His willingness to take a backseat is also why San Antonio's been the most successful franchise since the late 90s. The only player alongside John Sally to win a title in 3 different decades, Duncan never missed the postseason. As humble a superstar there was, Timmy D never blamed his teammates, took massive pay cuts multiple times so the Spurs could sign other top players and continue to compete for a title. Even in the 2012-2013 season, took an $11.5 million pay cut, ended up winning a ring in 2014, and for his final 2 seasons, made just over $5 million a year. For him to be able to pave the way for guys like TP and Manu, and how great they became as leaders of their own, just shows how much Duncan positively impacted his teammates. Dwyane Wade. It was an absolute travesty that he was never the highest paid player for the Miami Heat because of his willingness to take less money. It was him that made the Big Three possible. At the time, didn't have much to prove, already winning a Finals MVP. Even during LeBron's hardest times, any other superstars would have said, "It's my team," but instead, Wade gladly handed over the keys to LeBron and motivated him to be even more aggressive, while Wade took a back seat and completely allowed LeBron to flourish. An unselfish quality not many other superstars would accept. A true icon and a great leader on and off the court. Wade again took less money in summer 2014. If there was a chance James would return, Chris Bosh ended up making the big bucks because the franchise lowballed Wade. He signed with the Bulls, one of the few negatives of his career, and even came off the bench his last 2 seasons. Despite still being better than most players on his team, his farewell tour was well deserved. Dirk Nowitzki, the greatest European player in NBA history, the 7-footer is one of the most beloved players all time because of his attitude, graciousness, and commitment to his franchise. After winning the title in 2011, Dallas was on the decline, but Dirk refused max offers from teams like the Rockets and Lakers and stayed with the Mavs, signed a 3-year $25 million deal in 2014, leaving $72 million on the table. Dirk always played for the joy of the game. In 2017, agreed to a 2-year deal worth only $10 million because all Dirk cared about was winning and not the money. He could have made up to $446 million. By the end of the 2019 season, $194 million more than his actual earnings of $252 million. Spending all 21 seasons with the same franchise says it all. Before he got drafted, nobody could have predicted the 7-footer from Germany would end up not only becoming one of the best players, but a pioneer paving the way for future European stars. Stephen Curry. All his teammates got his back. They have the utmost respect for Steph. Iggy always urges to protect his legacy. Draymond even said Steph's unselfishness is even bigger than his jump shot. Even combined with his individual success and godlike shooting abilities, Curry's one of the most humble guys, coming from a mid-major, being looked down on as a 3-star recruit. His leadership qualities and unselfishness in allowing Kevin Durant to fit right in with Golden State, leaving a contending team himself and saying adios to another superstar. Steph's personality allowed that to happen and took a huge step back, perhaps sacrificing more MVPs and allowing KD to flourish, winning 2 Finals MVPs. Many superstars would have had a problem with that, but Curry simply cares about winning more and has continued to prove that. Is the heart and soul of the franchise, plays beautiful basketball. Everybody in Golden State simply knows their role, and Steph, being as laid back and relaxed as any superstar, plays the game with joy and passion, always puts in the work. After he broke the single game 3-point record with 13 triples, shortly after, Steph was encouraging Klay to break his record and happily cheered for his Splash Brother teammate and was jumping for joy. If it wasn't for Curry, Iggy likely would have been forgotten. Draymond perhaps wouldn't become the player he is today. KD might still not have a ring. Caring far more for team success than individual glory is what separates Steph from other superstars of his generation. I didn't include guys like Steve Nash, Chauncey Billups, Kevin Garnett, or Jason Kidd since they were already old at the start of the 2010s decade, but throughout the 2000s they were no doubt one of the most unselfish superstars in the league. Who do you guys think is the most unselfish NBA player this decade? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video. I love all of you. See you next time.